Hi everyone, Roman here with ACSbyRoman.com, your one-stop shop for all Mr12Volt needs. Today I'm bringing you a DIY installation on a beautiful 2016 Mercedes sl400. Let's get started. The first part of this installation will be to remove these two trims on this side and on that side. Now these trims come out pretty easy. You can just pull it from underneath and lift up and they pull back. You can do the same on the other side, but there's also a clip that's on the back that we need to release, and to do that we will need to push both seats forward. Once the seats are back, we're going to be opening up this cover here and we're going to be pulling this trim out. Now this is very flexible, so you're just going to want to lift it up here and pull back, and this trim will come out here. On the other side, we do something similar, but we actually have to remove the cover. On this side, we don't have a button to remove the cover like we did on the driver's side, but this panel just pops out. We just lift up, and this piece pulls up and out just the same, and this is released. Now we can slide the seats back and work on removing those pieces from the front. Once the side panel is also removed by lifting up and out here, you can just grab this side cover with your hands and pull it towards the back of the car, and it will just come right out. Just like that. The same can be done on the driver's side. So we just grab this panel underneath and just pull. Now it's attached to this trim here, and we just pull back a little bit and it starts to release. Now we're going to be removing trim screws. On this side we have T20 Torx. We have 1, 2, 3, fourth one holding a bracket here, and I believe we have the same on this side. 1, 2, 3, and a bracket that comes off here. Mind you, the one screw that holds the bracket on is a different thread. Again, this one is a different thread. Pull this bracket out here. And this one here. For the next step, we're going to be removing this main trim bezel. We're just going to be working our way around it, pulling it up. Don't pull too hard in any spot. try with a trim tool. There we go. Okay. Now there are several plugs in the back. To unplug, we have 1, 2, 3, and a bunch of stuff here. Looks like 3 more plugs. So we're just going to work on those. Okay. Now, the plugs that I unplugged are this, this, and this, and this, and this. Now, these plugs, the 2 plugs in the back here, they're cammed, so they're going to sit closed like this. You want to depress this part of the plug, and then this retainer will come over. Same thing on this one. They sit like this, and you're just going to depress it, and it's going to open up. These other plugs, they just have a little tab here. You just press it down, and they'll pull out. That's how all these plugs are here. Once that trim is removed, we're going to go after 2 screws that hold this assembly. There's one Torx 20 here, there's one Torx 20 here. You don't have to take out the screws all the way, but enough to release the radio. Okay, and then this should come out. Now mind, there is a plug on this side. It's again the same easy to depress tab, and it just comes right out. And then we can have access to the radio. Make sure your towel is down so you don't scratch anything. And now we can work on the back of the radio. Now that the radio is out, we're only going to be removing 2 plugs. We're going to be removing this gray one here and this quad lock. So for the quad lock, we just pull down and out. And for this gray one, there's a tab on the bottom. There we go. And that's disconnected. Now it's time to check out what we have in our Mr12Volt kit. We have our p3000 module, some quick install instructions. I'd referenced the video rather, and our harnesses. We have a fiber optic harness, a jumper harness, our LVDS, and our main harness. Let's just unbundle everything. Now, one step that I'm going to take, because we're not going to be doing camera install on this car, is I'm going to separate out the harness for the USB, and I'm going to tape up the rest of this harness so that it's not rattling around inside the dashboard somewhere. And I like to use this very light tack cloth tape, similar as the factory harness and the Mr12Volt harness. If you're planning on installing just one of the cameras, you can just leave the plugs out for the one camera that you want to do. That way you can tuck away the rest of this wiring. Okay, now we're ready for our LVDS. So with the LVDS cable, we're going to take the purple end and plug it into the gray. And the blue end, we're going to plug into where the gray was. Okay, for our main quad lock, we're going to use a little flathead, and we're going to depress this tab here to pull out the fiber optic. That's these two orange lines. We're going to be very gentle. We're going to pry out. And we have this out. Now we're going to take our fiber optic harness. We have 3 ends on this harness. This goes to the P3000 module. This end we're going to take the cover off like this, and we're going to put this cover onto this plug. Then we're going to take this plug and plug it into the female on the harness here, and this one plug goes onto our adapter harness, which is this harness. This is the harness that plugs into the actual PCM. We're going to put it into position number 1, like it was on the old harness. Like that. Then we plug this harness in. Okay. And now this harness can get plugged into the radio. Make sure your retainer is open so that the plug can actually slide all the way in. There we go. And press down to lock. Okay. Now on the other end, we have our p3000. We're going to pull this tab. I'm going to install our fiber. Our LVDS. And our main plug. And that's how this harness is assembled. The USB you can tuck away in other places. Now, at this point, you have the opportunity to find a place to put this module. On some cars, you can put it behind the glove box or behind the center, the steering wheel console, or if you can tuck it in some spot to the left or to the right. This is the opportunity for you to run your wiring and then plug this in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where I want to tuck this away, and then we're going to start up from there. I've done my wire management here, and I've actually put my module in on this side here. You can see it over here. And when I did my installation here, I put the module in first, then I plugged it in from this side, and I tucked the adapter harness in behind here. Maybe you can see it. The adapter harness kind of tucked in here. And now we're gonna slide the radio back. Before we do that, we have to set our retainers here in the up position. Where is it? There it is. And this makes sure that the radio grips in this slot and this slot here. And we'll be good to go. And then we sink our screws here after this is set. Now, if those two tabs are pressing up too much, you really should adjust your wiring harness just in case you do get caught in there. So next we're going to get our wiring. Pull all our little plugs out. That one's probably a little bit easier to install before you put anything in. Now, to put this cover back on, I'm going to lift up this piece and just kind of plug everything in. Make sure you get all the plugs. Make sure the retainer is fully opened so that you can plug the plug in, and then as you turn the cam, it'll pull the plug inside. Okay, and then we just plug in these guys here. gingerly put everything back into position. Make sure that on the left side it goes underneath the trim. Okay. And the trim just presses back into position here. And now we can put back our screws and brackets. Remember that those two for the bracket are a different thread. All right, now we can assemble our trim. Go. One side, in front. Okay, so next we're just going to clip in the trim in the back. So for these panels, we have to mind the retainer. back here. So we just bend it in until it's in the right position. And that's done. On this side, same thing here. And our cover. And that's installed. Now, once you have everything put back together, the last step is going to be pressing and holding these two buttons together. You're going to hold them for about 10 seconds, and then the system will restart. After the system boots, you should be able to go to video, and this popped up right away, but you'll usually see a drop down. It'll say TV, and when you go into TV, that's when you're going to be going into CarPlay. Now at this point, all that's left is to connect your phone, whether it's to CarPlay or to Android Auto, and we'll do that in a second with the customer. So now that we're in the car and the Mr12Volt menu screen is loaded, we've turned on our Wi-Fi, and we're just going to go to Bluetooth, and we're going to select Mr12Volt. On the menu here, there you go. We can just, it's starting to pair already, active. And then it's going to ask you a couple questions. For Android, select and to connect, pair. And that's it.
All right.
And we are loaded.
Nice.
So in your menu system, you will have ability to go into maps or Waze. You have Waze, maps, a lot of different things here. There's an additional icon. If you go to exit, you're going to end up back here to this menu, and you will have things like screen mirroring, or video, or music. There's a little USB that I have sticking out right here, which you can actually pull down, and you can connect a flash drive with media, with music or video to play through this pathway. Also, any future updates for firmware will be done through the USB over there. Additionally, we can go into settings. In general here, you have more volume settings. This is a new upgrade for the p3000 system. This will allow you to control the volume of your navigation and phone calls and everything independently, so that you can set all those volumes to your preference. And other settings here will be reverse camera settings, which you have factory camera, so we're not going to do anything with that. If you're adding cameras, you can mess with that. Display settings will allow you to change the brightness of your screen. Sound settings will give you an equalizer. Language settings will allow you to change your radio to Farsi if you choose. And under system, you can go to factory mode, and there's a couple other options here like echo cancellation and such. You shouldn't really need to come back into here. Press the back button here to exit back to this menu. Scroll back to Android Auto, and you come back here.
Perfect.
And that's it for our Mr12Volt installation.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.